The Shard, London's tallest building, owned by Qatar. Harrods, the world's most famous department store, owned by Qatar. Heathrow, Britain's gateway to the world, owned by Qatar. These landmarks are symbols of how foreign governments bought Britain while British families were priced out of the capital. This is the story of the greatest property heist in modern history, how London became the only major capital where foreign governments control vast amounts of its most valuable property, where sovereignty is for sale, and the workers that keep the city alive can't afford to live in it. Qatar alone owns over £10 billion worth of London property. China's state corporations control £134 billion in UK assets. Singapore's sovereign wealth fund has quietly acquired large parts of the city, and the UAE bought key exhibition centres and conference venues. The scale is staggering. By 2020, foreign ownership of UK property had more than doubled since 2010. In London, over 80% of luxury developments were sold to foreign investors between 2012 and 2014. But for the average Londoner, the impact is devastating. Average house prices reach more than $670,000, 15 times the city's median income. In Westminster, foreign investors own 13% of all homes, while young Brits are competing with foreign investment for somewhere to live. This is population displacement driven by overseas wealth and enabled by British politicians. But how did we get here? 3 decades of British government policies actively encouraged this invasion. Margaret Thatcher's privatisation wave established the principle. Britain was for sale to the highest bidder. Council houses sold off under right to buy. Public utilities handed to private companies. Tony Blair's New Labour continued the trend, deregulating finance and welcoming foreign investment. But the real acceleration came after 2008. David Cameron and George Osborne faced a broken economy in desperate need for investment. Their solution was turn Britain into a bargain basement for foreign capital. Cameron dubbed it the golden era of UK-China relations. In September 2015, Chancellor Osborne declared,
"I want to see our stock markets in London and in Shanghai formally connected, with UK firms raising funds from Chinese savers and Chinese firms listing in London."
But was this diplomacy or Osborne's desperation dressed up as strategy? The British government actively advertised for foreign capital. Britain courted sovereign wealth funds, visa rules were relaxed, and London was marketed as the perfect safe haven for international money.
There is no economy in the West that is as open to Chinese investment as the United Kingdom.
I can see the Chinese becoming majority owners of a British nuclear power plant. An opportunity for British business to do more business with China, and so we're streamlining and simplifying the visa system so that it makes it easier for that business with China to be done.
The Golden Visa Scheme allowed anyone investing £2 million to buy British residency. No background checks, no hold-ups, no questions about source of funds. Meanwhile, ordinary British families saw incomes stagnate while housing costs soared. The median UK salary has grown just 17% from 2010 to today, but London house prices rose 90% in the same period. British people were being priced out of their own capital, and your own government was the estate agent facilitating the sale. The thing is, Britain didn't just sell trophies to foreign states. They handed over critical national infrastructure. Take the Shard. Offices, restaurants, hotel rooms, apartments. When you eat on the 32nd floor, stay in the Shangri-La Hotel, or work in those offices, you're paying rent to the Qatari government. The building generates over $100 million a year, almost all flowing to Qatar's sovereign wealth fund. But the real shock is Heathrow. Qatar owns 20%, China owns 10%, Singaporean investors hold additional stakes. Nearly 1/3 of Britain's busiest airport, serving 80 million passengers annually, is owned by foreign governments. This pattern repeats across London's infrastructure. The walkie-talkie building's rental income flows to Hong Kong. The cheese grater's profits head to Chinese investors. Broadgate Estate employs thousands of financial workers, but half the rental income goes to Singapore. The consequences extend far beyond expensive housing. London has become a city where basic economic logic has broken down. There's 100,000 children in temporary accommodation, and over 1 million families await social housing. Homelessness rates hit record highs. Rental increases average 11% annually. Meanwhile, luxury developments sit empty. Transparency International found 40% of properties in major London developments were bought by beneficiaries from high corruption risk jurisdictions as buy-to-leave investments, purely to park wealth. Properties are marketed in Qatar and Singapore before British buyers know they exist. International property fairs showcase London developments with no UK marketing whatsoever. The truth is, Britain stands almost alone in developed nations, allowing this level of foreign control. Look at Norway. Even with one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds, they strictly control overseas investment in domestic infrastructure. In Germany, their Foreign Trade and Payments Act allows the blocking of any acquisition that threatens essential security interests. France maintains a list of strategic sectors requiring prior authorization for overseas investments. Energy, telecoms, defense can't be acquired by foreign entities without explicit government approval. The contrast with housing policy is stark. Singapore builds public housing for 80% of its population while investing its sovereign wealth fund in London property. Norwegian oil money funds public services while Norwegian funds buy British assets. France does the same, but the British government rolled out the red carpet and handed over the keys.
Britain's economic plan is working.
But work for whom? It works for foreign governments that acquire national assets that other countries would never sell. As a result, London became the global capital for money laundering, safe haven investment, and sovereign wealth parking. Even today, the fundamental policy framework remains unchanged. Foreign governments can still buy office buildings, retail developments, and residential properties with minimal oversight. Do we learn from this disaster or continue repeating it? Because no other developed country sold itself like this. Norwegian teachers buy homes in Oslo. German families purchase in Berlin. Only Britain chose foreign wealth over its own people. You either continue to allow foreign governments to take wealth from British families through essential services, or finally start prioritizing national sovereignty over international investment returns. What's it going to be?